Dave, you started at this store 31 years ago,
Correct.
and now you're a part of this big reconstruction, basically rebrand the entire store.
Correct.
What's it like leading the store now and kind of looking back to see where it started 31 years ago? What's grown, what's changed, what's the same?
Yeah. Well, I mean, 31 years ago plus, I was selling pharmaceutical supplies, and I was driving down 31, and I was on the road driving 50,000 miles a year, and I was like, I'm going to stop and see if they're hiring. So I pulled in, interviewed for a job. They offered me a job on the spot. I accepted on the spot, which I thought was really weird. I don't know why I did that, but I did. And so I started on January 4th of 94 and just fell in love with the automotive business. I had a great GM that was here at the time that kind of put his arm around me and said, hey, dude, come with me and you'll be fine. And so he taught me the ropes, and I started learning the business, and 31 years later, I'm still here and been running the store since April of 2002. Wow. So I've been the GM for the last 23, almost 24 years. And a lot's changed.
Sure.
We used to work leases off of a little bitty lease calculator that you had to punch money factors and residual values into, and to come up with these numbers, and you're like, gosh, I hope these are right, And today we've got, all the computer in the world to tell us what we need to do. A lot's changed with just lead handling and how customers get in contact with us. And it's evolved, and it's made me a better GM to change over the last 5, 6, 7 years.
Sure.
I've become a much more in-depth, analytical GM, and I think that's made me a better GM.
You're really involved with the corporate side of Honda in some cool ways. Local LMA, even deeper on like the national level. Why are you so invested in Honda corporate? Why do you want them to win so bad in a great way?
Well, I mean, I got blue on. If you took my blood, it would be Honda blue. I mean, that's
your eyes are blue, all that.
Yeah, that's all I've known. So, to be able to give back to some of those type of boards and different things has been, it's a blessing to me to be able to do that. The local ad association here in Indianapolis, we raised, $30-40 million a year in advertising funds, and I was the president of that association for about 13 years. And I finally just decided, okay, let's let somebody younger take that on. And I've gotten out of some of that, but I enjoyed doing it. I love meeting people. I've met so many good Honda people through the years. And car guys are good guys, and it's been fun to rub elbows with some really cool people and stay in touch with them.
There's a lot of people on your team that look up to you as an operator. So I had a chance to talk with a few of them tonight. Chance was one of them.
Yeah.
And some of the things I asked the guys was, okay, if you would describe Dave in one word, what would you say? Some of the words I heard were composed and steady. And what they said was that when Dave knows that you're out there succeeding and killing it every day, Dave gives you the space to succeed. But when he knows that you need some help, he gets on you in a great way. What is it about that part of being a leader that drives you every day? I mean, they look at everything you've done the last, let's say, 31 years
Sure.
since the day you started here, and they look at that the same way, in a great way.
Yeah, I've changed. I've evolved a lot since I took over in 02. In 02, I would have fired up on somebody a lot quicker. Probably would have yelled and screamed maybe a little bit. I don't do that much anymore. I've matured a lot, and I've found that just leading by some example and showing people that through hard work you get places, showing them that I'm going to work harder than they are. So when I ask them to do something, if they tell me no, it's not going to be acceptable, because I've already done that. I've already been down that road. I still, to this day, Jeremy, get in the plow truck and plow the lot. That's just who I am. I still do it. I hit this big giant pole out here last year and about broke my neck, but I still do it. But that's because I want to lead by example. I get on my guys when they need to get on. I give them the rope they need. But if somebody told me a long time ago, his name was Bob Rohrman, I think was his name.
I think that name rings a bell.
And he said, Davey, he said, surround yourself with good people and you'll be fine. So I've took that to heart every year. Do I have the best people around me?
Sure.
And if I don't, I'm trying to find the best people. And right now, the group I have is probably one of the best teams that I've had. It's very, very rewarding to us, and I've enjoyed it. So I don't have to get on them a lot. I just have to guide them, make sure they're going in the right direction, open their eyes to maybe a new way to look at things. But for me to beat them over the head and browbeat them and tell them they're terrible, I'm not going to do that. We're successful, and I'm successful because of them.
Yeah.
That's why I'm successful, and that's the fun part about it.
How do you find great people? What's your secret sauce to find the best people out there?
I'm not telling you that. I think, honestly, a lot of it's luck. I'll give you a quick story.
Sure.
I've got a sales manager that is with me now. He's probably one of the most dynamic guys I've been around. He's similar age to me. He applied for a sales manager job here over 5 times. I never interviewed him, never took the time to reach out to him. Finally, one day I did, brought him in, interviewed him, and I was like, man, I really like this guy. And he's been a home run for me, and sometimes you got to weed through 2 or 3 guys to get the right one, and I feel like that I'm pretty good at doing that. I've been able to weed through some people that they were okay, but they didn't fit what I needed. They weren't my culture guys. They weren't my leaders that I needed underneath me. And so I kept looking. And honestly, at some point in time, you just find them. And then it's about retaining. And I do a pretty good job of retaining people. And I usually have to push people out the door before they quit. They don't want to leave, but sometimes I make them leave. But it's fun to have that they want to keep working for you, and that's what I try to build.
Well, Dave, thanks for having me out here today. Spend some time with me on this evening, this beautiful night for this grand opening, and huge success to you guys. Obviously coming. You got a beautiful store now.
Thank you.
Hope you guys sell a lot of cars this year.
We better. I got to.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it.